when you read Genesis, there's two creation stories. In Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. People, please. Anybody who have a book, I don't care what version you're using, read Genesis 1 and read Genesis 2. And go back and read them, and you'll see a difference.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he him. So what is that? That is Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1 is an overview. Again, Genesis chapter 1 is an overview. And when you go into Genesis chapter 2, it gives you more detail. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. It says, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground." Wait, how come it didn't say that in Genesis chapter 1? Why? Because Genesis chapter 1 is just an overview. What's an overview? Basically like a summary. But Genesis chapter 2 gives you more detail. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." Then when you go down to verse, I believe verse 19, or somewhere around there, and that's where you see the animals created. It's not a contradiction. It's not a contradiction or an error. That is just how the Most High works. In Genesis chapter 1, it's a summary, it's an overview. Then we go in Genesis chapter 2, it gives you more detail on how the Most High created the earth.
Peace. Assalamu alaikum. This is Rahim, your investigative reporter, coming at you again. Basically, I'm giving a lesson, so it'll be different parts. This is part 1. Rahim versus Bentray Bible Errors, part 1. I had a class / debate, and I'm going to show the faults where Bentray basically messed up when he was trying to clean up basically the errors, the defects, the contradictions that I was displaying in my class. Okay? Now you heard what he said. It was a summary for Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1 is not a summary. First of all, a summary is a condensed form of writing. It also comes at the end of a paper or, resume, business letter. It is never in the front. But let me show you a source. I have a couple of more, but I'm going to just show you one. The unauthorized version. Truth and Fiction in the Bible. Robert Lane Fox. Okay. He says, the Bible begins with two distinct stories of creation, from Genesis 1 to 2:4. God creates the world in 6 days and rests on the seventh by his word of command. Now, he's definitely knows what he's talking about if you read Genesis 1 and 2. First of all, you can't call Genesis 1 a summary, because it's in the beginning. It started in the beginning, and it's verses 1 to 31. It's very long. Genesis 2, okay, is basically short. If you would have said that, I would have went with that more. But you said 1 is a summary, an overview, right? And then you said that they're not contradicting each other. Well, let's look up what summary means. The Webster Dictionary. Okay? We have the word sum. We know once you add like 4 plus 4 equals 8, 8 would be the sum. It comes at the end, not the beginning. Okay? Summary. As you can see, compendium, abridgment, abstract, brief, epitome, resume, speedy, fast, immediate, brief, condense. It's short. Genesis 1 is not short. Overview, survey, review. How are you going to review something at the beginning? Let's look at survey, view, examine, inspect. He wasn't inspecting nothing. He wasn't examining nothing. Yahweh was creating at that point. So you're using words you don't know the meanings to. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. How is that a summary, folks? I mean, how? Then you look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord made the earth and the heavens. He's talking about how he created, just like he created in Genesis 1, but they don't add up. As I said in the class I was giving, things are reversed. You know, it doesn't make sense. Vegetation is before sunlight, all types of nonsense. Then you go to Genesis chapter 3, verse 20, right? And it says, and Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. Then you go to chapter 5, verse 1 in Genesis. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Verse 2, male and female created he them at the same time. It's not talking about no rib. And this is Genesis 5. It's not Genesis 2. And blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. It says, call their name Adam. There means two people. So Eve's name wasn't Eve. And this is Genesis 5. He said he called Eve's name in Genesis 2 or 3, I believe. Alright? So, this is whack. I mean, in a day, I thought Adam spent a while alone, and then the rib. You see how this is not adding up, people? You see? This is what I'm talking about. Was her name Adam or was her name Eve? Were they created together? Genesis 1 says the same thing as Genesis 5. Verse 2, male and female created he them. You understand? It's saying basically the same thing. They were created together. Truth be told, the first woman wasn't even Eve. It's supposed to have been Lilith. She wasn't put in these canonized Bibles because she was equal to Adam. That's why it says he created man and woman. It didn't say from a rib in Genesis 1. And now in Genesis 5:2 is saying the same thing. But in Genesis 2, it's talking about created Adam out of the ground. Adam was doing whatever he was doing, fell into a deep sleep, and Yahweh basically created her from his rib. Doesn't even make sense. But these guys will tell you all types of lies. See, he got caught out there and said it's a summary. A summary never comes in the beginning, folks. Anybody that has went to school, worked a job, you know a summary don't come before the heading, the body of a document. The summary is the ending, explaining, basically everything. So what is he talking about? Now I want to read this last piece, and then I'm going to show you some real good stuff in my other parts. The rise of ancient Israel. Okay. Now at this point, the Bible gives us two somewhat different accounts of how they took possession of the promised land. The first is the last part of the book of Numbers and the book of Joshua. The second and somewhat different account is in the book of Judges. The account in Joshua portrays a lightning military campaign lasting less than 5 years. In this campaign, the various people of Canaan are defeated. Joshua defeated the whole land, the hill country, and the Negev, and the lowland, and the slopes, and all their kings. After these victories, the land west of Jordan is allotted among the Israelite tribes. The account in Judges is quite different. First of all, the order is reversed. In Judges, the allotment comes first, and after the allotment, they attempt to take possession of the land by conquest. In Judges, there is no unified effort by all Israel to conquer the land, as seems to be the case in Joshua. In Judges, the effort to possess the land seems to be the work of individual tribes or groups of related tribes. People, go and read for yourself. You have the verses. See, I made a copy of this. This is a copy of that book. I ain't retype it or nothing. Giving you the book name, page. People, go read those Joshua and Judges and see for yourself. I wonder how they gonna clean that one up. I wonder how they gonna clean it up. They always try to have an answer, but they don't be right. All right. So stay tuned for part 2. Peace.